Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Blumber Healthcare Podcast. Today, we every time we explore the journeys and insights of professionals who work behind the scenes to strengthen our healthcare ecosystem and improve the patient's outcomes. Right. Today, we have with us Mrs. Nitya Kamalraju, a healthcare quality professional whose work focuses on building and strengthening quality systems in hospitals. Nitya began her career as an engineer, but soon found her calling in the healthcare ecosystem, especially in the areas of hospital quality, safety standards, and accreditation systems. It could be NABH, right? Please correct me. She spent around 5 years with GKNM
Yes,
Hospital, where she is currently working. She has played an important role in helping the hospital strengthen its quality frameworks and systems and achieve multiple healthcare accreditations. Over the years, she has built a strong reputation as a quality manager, a trainer, and a consultant, working with hospitals and healthcare teams to improve processes, safety standards, and also compliance with in accordance to the NABH system standards also. Her work highlights a very important but often less valued aspect of healthcare, ensuring that hospitals operate safely in a consistent manner and according to the standards prescribed by the systems of the government, right? So, Nitya, hello and welcome to Blumber Healthcare Podcast. We are very glad to have you here.
thank you so much for your warm introduction. I'm really happy to be here.
Glad to.
During my time at JKNM Hospital, I had the opportunity to work closely on the accreditation process, quality improvement initiatives. That experience helped me understand how structured systems and standard practice can really improve the patient outcomes. I am so excited to share my experience and insights today.
Great, great. We want to listen from you also. So, Nitya, you said you had started your journey as an engineer. So, what led to the transition into healthcare ecosystem?
It's a quite a story actually.
All yours.
So I actually started my career as an engineer and I was about to join a company called KGISL in IT sector.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time I had an opportunity to meet Dr. G. Bhaktwachalam, chairman of the KG hospital,
Okay.
who they were initiating the NABH accreditation project.
Uh-huh.
So they're looking for someone to support their project along with the existing system.
Uh-huh.
As a I fresher, I took the opportunity out of the curiosity.
Okay.
But once I got involved, I realized how much structured systems process influence the patient safety and outcomes.
Okay.
That experience completely changed my directions
Hmm.
and drew me into the healthcare system.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, a few meetings like this does change the course of our journey itself, and you're one of the
Yes,
examples.
yes.
Yeah. So, many people out there associate healthcare primarily with clinical care, but you have come into quality and accreditation side of it, the healthcare operations side of it. So, like you said, you met with Dr. Padmanabhan and he guided you through this. So, why did you like it? Is a challenge, right? How did you discover that something like that could actually mean something different, and why did you pick it up?
Yeah. As I told you, no, I was joined for the NABH project.
Uh-huh.
I was exposed to the behind the scenes in the systems,
Uh-huh.
policies, protocols, audits, process standardization. I
Mhm.
began to understand that quality and accreditation are what ensure consistency, safety, and reliability in the patient care.
Wow.
That's when I discovered that healthcare is not just a treatment, it is also how well the system is designed to prevent errors and improve the clinical.
Understood. So during this journey of 5 years or 6 years that you have been with GKNM, the healthcare quality management, how did you think that this would be your path? This would become your long-term focus? What was that moment that said, yes, this is the one for me?
I'm a decade experience in healthcare. quality and safety.
Okay. Okay.
For the past 5 years, I'm associated with the GKNM hospital. Okay,
Okay.
but the turning point for me was seeing how small process improvements can make a big impact on the patient safety. I can tell an example.
Sure.
When we noticed a small drop in the hand hygiene comments, so we introduced a simple PA system reminders, and it significantly improved the adherence. So although I started as an engineer, this experience made me realize I wanted to work where I could create a meaningful impact. That's what drew me into the healthcare quality and the patient safety. I came to understand that quality management is not just a support function, it's essential to the healthcare delivery, and that's when I decided.
Okay. Can you give one example in addition to what you just mentioned? Like, I mean, this is for the general public to understand that there is more to healthcare than just the clinical practice, right? Yeah. One example where it
Yes.
improved, your services improved the healthcare system.
For an instance, I shared already about the hand hygiene, right?
Okay.
Hand hygiene is a very important factor among the healthcare professionals.
Okay.
Because it will directly, it's correlating with the patient's outcome and also infections. It will reduce the infections. So, okay, that's why the system is very important to be placed. So we, the healthcare quality persons, we help to set the rules and regulations, standardize the protocols, train them, make sure they are adhering to that by continuous monitoring, auditing, right?
Yeah.
So the auditing will be like two different things. One is taking the paper, taking the checklist, go yes. Another one is an observational audit. We won't say anything. We won't interfere in their. We'll just observe how they are doing. And later, we'll just educate them. On-spot corrections will be done. I think this will be the perfect example for how the quality is improved.
Okay.
Because we simply think washing the hands.
Yeah.
Will be there.
Yeah.
But it will cause the transmission of the infections. Okay, whether it's an airborne or through the healthcare professionals. Like best example is the COVID area. Everybody will wear gloves. They will don themselves with best example. After COVID only, all came to know about the mask and actually.
Correct.
Before that, they didn't realize about.
Yeah, that's interesting. So these standard practices you people define, your team defines. Okay. So
Yes.
are you guided by the doctors, or it is like you have your own studies done, and based on your general research that you have made outside the hospital or within the hospital, you come up with decisions?
There's a different things are there.
Okay.
Very best part is we are adapting from the already existing practices.
Okay.
Okay. For example, I will take the hand hygiene itself. Hand hygiene means washing your hands.
Okay.
That's it. So that's the step. Have you heard about WHO?
Which one?
WHO.
Of course.
World Health Organization. Yes.
Yeah.
So they define how to hand wash.
Okay.
There are 6 types. Okay.
6 types of hand wash.
I share one quite small story about my colleague. That time, while starting my career, my colleague was married. She's having 2 daughters with her.
Okay.
So we were very into about doing the hand wash, teaching the hand wash to the staff nurse, healthcare professional. So what she did, she's made same thing with their daughters also. You have to do the hand wash like this. She taught the daughters. After seeing the 6 steps, Amma, better I can go have a bath and come back. Please don't take my hand.
Okay. Nice. So these standard practices are WHO standards, and also your observations also make sense, right?
Yes. Actually, the first one is we are fine-tune our existing process.
Okay.
Second thing is adapting from the best practices followed across the world.
Okay.
Okay, there are a lot of reference materials are available worldwide, and pathways are available. So we'll our as a quality team will adapt some
Ah,
based on our current scenario.
okay.
For our system, we'll adapt it.
Uh-huh. Understood. So, for many people out there, including myself, I did not know about a quality control system within the hospitals till I came across. Once I started researching for my product, I did not know much about quality care or the systems that you guys support. But once I knew, then I understood what you guys do, the kind of work you do. So, what are these terms, NABH accreditation, and could you please explain these kinds? Why is it required? What is NABH? Why is it required?
Okay. NABH, first of all, I'll give the abbreviation. Okay. NABH means National Accreditation Boards for Hospitals and Healthcare Providers. Okay. It is a system that checks and certifies the hospitals or healthcare organization to make sure that they provide safe, high quality care to the patients. Okay.
Understood.
NABH works under QCI, Quality Council of India, which is a government supported organization that promotes quality standards across India.
Okay.
We have laboratory standards, blood bank standards, even for the instruments. So many things are there. But NABH is for the hospital and healthcare. In simple words, you have it means NABH means the hospital follows the proper rules and standards to ensure patient safety, good treatment, and quality services.
Got it. Got it. So NABH is actually a standard. Sorry.
Hope you got it. What it means.
Yeah. So NABH is a standard accreditation where it certifies that the hospitals follow a certain protocol as defined by NABH. Okay, so there are there is only one accreditation, or there are multiple accreditations under NABH itself?
No. Actually, various forms. For example, for allopathic, different standards. For eye hospital, different standards. Dental hospital, different standards. For the general hospital, it's called as a HCO, Healthcare Organization. So in that also, if the hospital has a bed less than 50 bed, means that's different standards.
Okay.
50 and above, there is a different standards. Now they're having, we came to the 6th edition. The standards now came to 6th edition. More than 6 objective elements we have to adhere. The hospital has an NABH accreditation means it has to align with those 600 objective elements.
Wow.
And the first, yes, those objective elements comes under 10 different chapters. Okay. The first 5 chapters is meant for the patients.
Okay.
Like access, AAC, we call it as access, care of the patients and care of patients, then management of medication, infection prevention and control, patient rights and education. Those 5 chapters for the patients.
Okay.
And next 5 chapters for the organization, hospital.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like of the management, hospital management, what are the facility management safety we are providing. Even for HR, there is a chapter. HR, it's called as HR. And for the information system or in medical records, for that it's called IMS, Information Management System. So it's a quite big those standards.
Understood. So if it is a multidisciplinary hospital like yours, right, GKNM, even there, do they get one single accreditation, or for each department they get one different accreditation?
As I told you, multidisciplinary hospital, there will be a single accreditation is there. It covers overall hospital. Okay. So once we got, it covers every department. Not necessary. We have to go for the standalone. Standalone means individual standards for the particular department. For example, blood bank, laboratory. There is a different standards for blood bank also there.
Yeah. Okay.
It's called NABL. For a laboratory, it's called NABL.
Okay.
Those different things. What we did, we have to fine tune ourselves.
Right.
We have to set the standards. So we went for a exclusive for the emergency services.
Okay. Okay.
Then we went for the nursing services, only for the nursing excellence. That also we got.
Okay.
We are having more than 900 above nursings over there.
Oh, wow.
They are adhering to the objective elements. So we are nursing excellence hospital, and we have a standalone for the ER services.
Uh-huh.
Not only NABH, and another body is there, accreditation. It's called QAI, Quality Accreditation Institute. So in that we got a advanced stroke center.
Acha.
For the stroke care itself, we got a separate accreditation.
Okay, so one you got for the overall hospital, one you got for nurses,
Yes.
one you got for emergency services, one you got for
Yes.
stroke services, and
Stroke service alone. More to go. And also we are having, for few testers, we are also having NAB.
sorry,
NABL means laboratory. NABL.
Enable. Understood. So, for most official safety and quality standards, hospitals must implement. Should they meet? Like you said, there are 6 chapters exclusive for the hospital itself, while 5 are for the patients. Now, how much of this, like if they have to meet the accreditation requirements, how much of these chapters, like the objectives that have been mentioned in each chapter, should be adhered to? Like 100%, or is there any kind of cut down given?
Actually, they will come for an assessment. Okay.
Okay.
There is a separate app the assessors will have. For hospital, we are 700 above hospital. Okay. They will, 5 different assessors will come for the 5 days.
Okay.
It's called 10-man day assessment.
Okay.
They will assess all 650 objective elements. They will see it is a complaints, partial complaints, and full complaints, like 0 by 10. If the hospital for the very first time means there is a few set of standards they can comply. That's okay.
Okay.
But we are the first hospital got NABH in the Tamil Nadu. We are the senior most in. So we are going for the NABH. So we have to follow 100%.
100%. Okay.
If, for example, suppose if there is any deviation, any non-conformities, they'll give a stipulated time. We have to complete those gaps. Then we have to submit the evidence to the assessors. If they are happy, they will ask to continue the accreditation.
Understood.
That's how the accreditation process.
Okay. So when you joined this quality system, ecosystem planning and accreditation policies in GKNM or before that?
Before that, I joined in KG Hospital as an quality executive actually.
Okay.
I worked under Dr. GB, I already told chairperson, and Mr. Prabhu Kumar, who was a director of HR there.
Okay.
He is also an accreditation coordinator.
Okay.
But I had a chance to learn from Dr. Bidandas, who was one of the technical committee from the NABH. So I learned from the top.
Best, yeah.
He suddenly asked, while going around, said, Nitya, can you tell me what is mean by FMS 1B?
Okay.
He'll give us spot questions. It will be quite stressful. While looking face, it's very stressful. You are an engineer. What you are going to make a difference in healthcare? What you are going to do? Then the people realized what we work, because it happened on 2009. Okay, my first job was in 2009. That's where I started my career. During that period, NABH is very starting phase. Very few hospitals across the host India they got the NABH. So the people who are already in the hospital, they are not covered. If Nitya is coming, if she is coming with her, if Nitya is coming, she's bringing so many. Then they realize the importance of the work and how the system changed their life. Then they started to come towards us. They started to approach us. Then they started to ask questions, doubts. Then we help through them to the experts. Though I am not a clinical person, but I can help to coordinate those things. And that is very important actually.
Yeah. So, does that also need that you have enough knowledge about the diseases or the kind of services each department executes?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
I sat with each department. I read their manuals.
Uh-huh.
Diseases not. I'm not going to treat any diseases,
Of
right?
course.
But I will. I will work on the functionality of the department.
Hmm.
For example, intensive care units,
Hmm.
operation theaters,
Hmm.
emergency services.
Hmm.
I before asking any questions, before approaching them,
Hmm.
I studied each system. Though I had zero knowledge in the healthcare, I asked one stupid question. Please don't judge me because of this question. Okay, I asked Mr. Prabhu Kumar, my previous boss.
Yeah.
There was a doctor over there. I don't want to mention anything. Okay, I asked whether the doctor can inject the injection. I don't know. I can't ask whether he is an MBBS graduate doctor or a PhD doctor.
Yeah.
That part I still don't know.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, I know the 2 years of the career was a bit interesting.
Okay.
Since I am very young, I like jalta hai,
Right.
like that attention.
That's an interesting start you had. So during your time at here GKNM Hospital, you were involved in helping the hospital manage multiple accreditations. So what is a typical
Yes.
process like to get the accreditation done from inside?
Okay. From my experience, accreditation process is less a project, more of a transformation journey for the hospital. Okay, initially there's a lot of effort in understanding the existing practices,
Okay.
how department function,
Uh-huh.
where the gaps are, how the closely aligned with NABH standard.
Hmm.
Once the clarity is established,
Hmm.
the focus shifts to aligning the people and process,
Okay.
creating the protocols,
Okay.
training the staff, and ensuring everyone understand not just what to do, but why it matters. The major part of the process is continuous follow by conducting audits, reviewing the complaints, and correcting the gaps in the real time.
Hmm.
What stands out is that real work happens on the floor, not just only in the documentation. By the time final assessment happens, no, the hospital is not just preparing for an evaluation. It's already evolved into more structured and safety-driven system.
And you drive the whole thing.
Our team actually,
Yeah.
it's not a single person's process. In our team, actually, my team is quality department is headed by the director, Dr. Madhavi Gopinath,
Okay.
and there is another intensivist, Dr. Parveen. They both are in the doctor. Okay. Another there is an quality nurse, senior quality nurse, Miss Karthigeni, is also the part of the department.
Okay.
Along with me,
Mhm.
Miss Kavita and Miss Tanashmi,
Okay.
we sit all together in the quality department.
Understood.
It's never as a one person work.
Yeah.
Please understand.
Of course.
It's not a single person's work. Everyone have to do this work.
So this team of 6 to 7 doctors, nurses, quality assurance team, all of you get together to plan, strategize, and execute what changes needs to be brought out, what training needs to be provided, and what kind of information needs to be documented, and then prepare everything to present to the NABH team so that they provide the accreditation. Got it. So
Everything within the time frame.
yeah,
Everything within time.
what's the
That's
time?
yeah.
What's the time frame like?
Yes.
Now, within what timeline should that be achieved?
Actually, timeline means, for example,
Huh.
how we'll identify the particular person needs a training.
Hmm.
When we identify the system need a change or the process has to be redefined,
Hmm.
it's through the internal audits. Okay.
Yeah.
So we schedule ourselves for department internal audits.
Uh-huh.
In that, go audit them with exactly with the checklist,
Okay.
with the whether aligned with NABH standards and objective limits. After assessment, we'll give a gap. For each thing, we calculate the time frame.
Huh.
This thing can be done. This thing can be done. Immediately, it should be implemented.
Okay.
So each point have the corrective action and the preventive action.
Okay.
So the each gap, we will do the root cause analysis also.
Okay.
Why it happened? We never ever ask who did it.
Okay. Okay.
It's because of Nitya. No, it's not like that. We will always go for system based. Then only the sustainability will be there.
Understood. That makes a lot of sense because there is a space that NABH provides, I guess, and within that time, if you have to achieve, and you have to also do the root gap analysis, and that really makes a lot of sense what you said. Okay, when you're doing all these transitions, doing all the protocols to be followed, documenting, training, and all that, what has been the biggest challenge for you when conducting the process itself?
Thank you for bringing up this question actually.
Sure.
Oh no, the biggest challenge is changing the mindset of the staff.
Okay.
Many initially see aggregation as a documentation work, but the real goal is building a culture of safety and consistency.
True.
Okay.
True.
And another challenge is ensuring uniform implementation across the departments, not just on the paper. It has to be done as a daily practice. And sustaining the standards over the time, especially with the staff turnover, workload pressures, is also a key difficulty. That's why leadership involvement and continuous training are very, very crucial for the service.
Understood. That's really good. Like, yeah, I mean, managing people or changing their mindsets because they already are used to a certain system. And even the leadership, because as you said, it only thinks that accreditation is a documentation process. But then there is a change in the mindset that needs to be brought in, and the people who are actually executing the work or working with the patients themselves, that mindset has to be changed, and kudos that you are doing it on a daily basis. So during your this process of helping people to adopt to the new changes that are to be brought about, when did you actually feel that what work you're doing actually deeply impacts the safety of the patient itself, or the a well-designed system can improvise the patient's safety and quicker what do I say, recovery?
Yes. It's actually a good question too. Yes, I'll like to put an example that stand out that implementation of Code Yellow protocol. Actually, in the NABH standards, we have to prepare for any type of disasters, like whether it's a fire or any building collapse or flood,
Disaster.
bomb threat, any not only internal disaster. We have to prepare for the external disaster also.
Okay.
What happens? Mass casualty comes. Mass casualty means more than 10 to 15 patients coming at the same time.
Okay.
So we call most of the hospitals call it as a code yellow. They will call it if it's code yellow, it's yellow. If the hospital is paging code yellow means they are about to receive more than 10 to 15 patients at the same time. So we worked on clearly defining the Code Yellow protocol, standardizing the response process. We trained the staff across the departments from the ER, operations theater, intensive care. Okay. At the time, it felt like a routine preparedness initiative, but it's a real during an actual incident.
Oh wow!
We received. I'm still getting a goosebumps. We received around 6 patients from the same family simultaneously.
Okay.
Because of the LPG gas blast. Okay. It was a mass casualty scenario. Because the system was already in the place, then staff were very trained. The response. We received around 6 patients from the same family simultaneously in the mass casualty scenario. Okay, because the system was already in the place and the staff were well trained, the response was immediate and well coordinated.
Okay.
The emergency team was able to prioritize and manage the patients effectively without any confusion or delay.
Okay.
That experience reinforced me how even a structured protocol, when properly implemented, can make a critical difference in the patient outcomes and emergency handling.
So this can be a small.
That's one of the best examples.
Yeah, it could be a small quality
Yes,
improvement in the process or a process change in itself, but whatever you have implemented has made a huge impact out there, right?
yes. We here me means quality department
Of course,
is
quality department.
along with the team coordinating with the stakeholders and everything it has been implemented. So it's not a small change actually. We are defining the process.
Hmm.
Who should do what? Who have to activate the code yellow?
Hmm.
Who will triage the patient? Who will coordinate with the other medical staff, because single clinic doctor can't handle all the six patients at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So he or she have to coordinate other departments also.
Hmm.
Since it's an gas blast incident, burn patients will be there.
True. True.
Okay, so plastic person has supposed to, plastic fellow will take care of the those burn injuries. Some may get a trauma, like orthopedic doctors are supposed to come out there. So for each thing we have the step. We define the steps, how the process will go,
Hmm.
how the process will flow. Then what time? It's like a all hands on the deck situation.
Understood.
Nurses, we need extra. We need a housekeeping person to transfer patients to the X-ray scan center, or if patient needs an immediate surgery, that patient has to be shifted immediately to the.
Mm-hmm.
Everything will be in the place,
Wow.
and we also have to train the persons who are involved in the department. That is a major bottleneck. We have to make understand housekeeping person how important his job is, he or his job is,
Okay.
while transferring the patient. Time is very
Yes. Yes.
the critical case,
In
right?
these situations, time is crucial. I agree. Yeah. Uh, yeah, as you said, right? But accreditation is not just about documentation, it is about professional working in the quality. Like how exactly should the processes change, how should people mindset change, and all that. So was there a moment when you were inside, you saw a hospital learn truly embrace quality culture beyond just compliance? Like, for example, you have been training people and you have shown them that this is important for NABH accreditation, but during your training process, when you inculcated that importance of why this quality is important, did you see the people adopt to that as not just for compliance but beyond it, our culture has to be this kind of a situation?
Okay. Is I experienced a very defining moment when we implemented the concept of just culture in the hospital. Okay, this is a mindset we have to shift from the blame culture to the learning culture, and to encourage the staff to report incidents without fear.
Okay.
And incident, I have to explain more about the incident. Incident means any deviation that occurs in a process which may or may not lead to the harm. And it has to be, must be, okay, that is called incident. Okay, initially there was a hesitation, but with continuous training, leadership support, we started seeing a significant change. In fact, number of incident reports has been increased double the time to the previous year. While this might seem negative at first, but so many incidents, but it's actually a very positive indicator.
True.
It showed that staff felt safe to report. And also there is a transparency, it was improving.
True.
Most importantly, it allowed us to identify the system gaps and take correct actions proactively. If incidents is repeated, it should not be happened again. That is the concept. So that was the moment I realized the quality is not about the documentation, but building trust and culture where people are willing to stand up for the patient's sake.
Understood. The culture that you have built, and along with creating a discipline itself, right? I think that takes
Yes.
a lot more than just accreditation documentation or getting the accreditation.
Actually, that is the yes. Actually, that's the project I am going to present in a forthcoming conference, international conference that's going to happen in the Chennai.
Okay.
We started the complaints rate of 40%. Now it's almost 70% of people feeling safe. They are our hospital is safe. That's a significant increase.
True, true.
70 is not what 70. Not it's 70 is a big number, because we made initially very few people reported that question survey, but we made everyone participate in the survey. Most of the people are feeling very safe to, yes, I made a mistake.
Okay.
I made this thing. So I just want to correct. They're coming up. That's how we changed the blaming culture into the learning culture. It's called just culture. It's a common term. Usually, it's one of the things where who did. Usually, will more like a why it happened, where the system. So based on that, analysis and
Understood. That's really sweet. That's nice. I wish you all the best for your presentation about the same. Now,
thank you. Thank you.
yeah, looking back at your journey so far, right? Is there a project or accreditation effort that you are particularly proud about, saying that during this, not just about the accreditation, but about the changes that we have made in the hospital has made a big impact? Have you felt any time during? I mean, you would have definitely felt it, but one project that you actually feel proud about.
Okay, it's recently I did a lot of projects actually. I just want to share recent one. One project I'm particularly very proud of is a service quality improvement initiative, where I designed a care gap questionnaire, where this was the first of its kind approach in our hospital setting, as it was intentionally structured as a negative questionnaire, focusing on the identifying the gaps in the patient experience, rather than just measuring the satisfaction. Or is satisfied, yes or no? The questionnaire will not be like that. Okay, it's only focuses on the identify gaps, where it went wrong, in the admission process, where it went wrong, in discharge process, where it went wrong. Like that, the question. The objective was to bring out issues that often missed in our traditional systems. So after implementation, we are able to identify recurring service gaps, and we took a targeted corrective actions. This led to a measurable improvements in the service quality and patient experience.
Wow.
I am so proud of.
Can you give one example, like within the changes that you said you brought about? How did that impact a patient? Like just one small example, because it was interesting.
Yeah, I will do. So one patient quoted the gap was about delay in the transition.
Okay.
Delay in the transition means while shifting, if the patient is admitted as an inpatient, he or she is supposed to go for an investigation like ultrasound or CT scan or X-ray or echo. Okay. So this particular patient escalated that this was a very major concern for me. There is a delay in the transition.
Okay.
So we went back. And just put all the process wherever we just traced out his steps. Okay, what happened actually? The particular patient supposed to do ultrasound.
Okay.
For taking the ultrasound, the patient bladder, urinary bladder has to be full. And then only they take a
yes.
So this shifting by what we are not by what he did. Since it will take some time, so meanwhile he shifted the patient to the echo.
Oh.
Echo is already because he is supposed to take investigations at this around the particular time.
Okay.
His echo was scheduled on another after or half an hour or something like that.
Okay.
Since his bladder was not full, he thought he proactively thought I am doing a better work, so he immediately shifted to the echo services.
Okay.
Where echo services are full, because they are also following strict with appointment times, right? Yes. Then only we trace back, oh, these things are happening. Then we made a policy and protocol, make sure that we have to confirm with the reception echo service, the assigned staff nurse. Here she has to confirm with the particular reception whether it's available or shall be shifted. because or else the patient has to wait in the corridor
Correct.
because it's a diagnostic area, right?
Yeah,
There will be not patient wait to keep the structures and everything.
true.
So this is the best example for the care practitioner. We never ever realized, oh, Baya took the patient, everything will be done, your ultrasound will be completed, echo will be completed, but we never thought of this.
Yeah.
But patient reported this gap.
Super. Okay.
So that's why this negative. If we ask how was our services, are you happy with the ultrasound services? Are you happy with the echo service? We will say yes, okay, good. But when we ask what went wrong, the other way around. So he pointed out this gap.
Understood. So you have incorporated a lot of processes and systems in place. Was there any? That example was very good because before I go ahead, I will just want to share this. I had taken my own child to the hospital also, and of course, as you said, until the bladder is full, the ultrasound doesn't happen, and we were waiting. And as you said, we saw a couple other patients also. They came on their own, like they had a couple of, I mean, my daughter had only one USG to be done, but these people had couple other things to be done. So instead of waiting in that department, they came down for the ultrasound, thinking that they can do it and they'll be given a free pass because they have to cover so many other tests also. And I can totally relate to this. And yeah, this kind of streamlining is pretty important for better servicing. Yeah, that's very good improvement. And it's amazing that you identified
these things. No, different. OP setting is different. IP setting is different.
Okay.
OP, when patient comes, the test will be taken. But IP, the patient will stay in the hospital.
Okay.
He can be shifted accordingly. Not necessary. He has to be there before the particular time. It's not necessary.
Understood.
He's already in the IP. So that's why the
Gap.
process are different.
Okay. Understood. Yeah. Got it. So you have been doing a lot of process changes, systems in place, and all that, right? Did any time you put in a certain system or a process in place, and it did not work according to your expectations? So what did you do at that situation? Did you ever experience such kind of?
Yeah. There have been situations where a gap in the system highlighted the system. So one key realization for me was the most errors are not due to any individual negligence, but due to the unclear or inconsistent processes.
Okay.
In one instance, a delay in care occurred because there was no clearly defined communication protocol between the departments. That experience reinforced the importance of designing a structured system with a clear rules, responsibility, communication pathway. So it shifted the perspective from who made the mistake or to what in the system allowed this to happen.
Understood. So there is a total shift in the way it is perceived.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it's perceived. Who did it? We will go like who did it? No. What? Why did it happen?
It happened.
What in the system? Yeah. What in the system allowed it to happen? That's also a different question actually.
True. Okay.
Because we made everything is on the place.
Yeah.
So where is the
gap? Interesting. So in the hospitals, as you said, right, most of the time it is questioned who did it, but then why it happened, what led for that to actually occur is the answers that you as a the quality assurance person identifies and fills the gap, right? But in the stakeholders itself or the real doctors who are handling the cases, they still try to identify which person was responsible for certain mistakes to happen, right? Or the errors themselves to happen. How do you handle such situations? Or is there a gap still available where reacting to a situation or reacting to the system itself?
Yeah. From my experience, designing a process to prevent error is far more effective than reacting after they occur. Okay. So healthcare is a high-risk environment, and relying on individual vigilance alone is not sustainable. When the systems are well designed with a checklist, protocols, and standardization, they act as a safeguards that reduce the chances of error.
Okay.
In contrast, reacting to the instant without addressing the root causes leads to the repeated issues actually.
True, true.
So, proactive system based approach is essential for the long term efficiency.
Understood. So, like the quality improvement initiatives that you have taken, the processes and systems that you have put in place, or your team has put in place, have you seen a significant change in the department thought process or the hospital functioning in itself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, one example is the implementation of the just culture approach in the incident reporting. Yes,
Yeah.
that is a very good example actually.
Uh-huh.
Initially, reporting was limited because staff were hesitant. But after introducing the non-negative environment and conducting awareness situation, reporting significantly increased. We also offered a badge.
Okay.
I speak for patient safety.
Oh, okay.
That badge, every person in a hospital wear along with their name tag. Okay,
Uh-huh.
this changed how the hospital functioned from being reactive to becoming more transparent and proactive.
Super.
So departments began discussing the incidents openly and learning from them and implementing the preventive actions. It transformed in reporting from formality into meaningful quality improvement too.
Understood. So essentially, you made it more transparent. The systems and processes ensured that there is transparency among everyone, and there is an open discussion that is possible without the fear that
Yes.
I'll be burgeoned or I'll be tasked to it. And that removing that fear itself helped for a more transparent discussion, I believe. That's nice.
Yes. 1 year we used to celebrate World Patient Safety Day. Okay, so we created awareness about the transparency, blame-free culture. No, we conducted so many role plays, poster competitions, slogan competitions, and I don't know whether you heard about a Villupatu. I don't know. It's one of the like a group of people will sing a common song. They will promote the concept through the singing the songs in the local language.
Okay.
It's a quite interesting.
Okay.
Yes, yes, and gave the badges to for. No, the badge made a difference.
Understood.
It's like standing among the crowd. I speak for patient. The badge was designed like that.
Nice, interesting. So, what do you believe are the most common gaps in the quality of hospitals in general that they need to actually address at a high level, at least?
Some of the most common quality gaps I observe are inconsistency in the process implementation, gaps in the documentation, and limited focus on the patient safety culture. While many hospitals policies in place and they locked in the locker, challenge lies in the translating them into the daily practice across all the departments. And as I say again, another key gap is underreported of incidents. Often they fear lack of. Additionally, continuous training and staff engagements are sometimes not given enough. Work is there. We are going for a training. You can say if it's 1 hour is there, you can do more work.
True.
That mind without that. So addressing these areas can significantly strengthen health.
Understood. Nice.
Do orientation program while entering the organization.
Nitya, the last bit got scattered. I couldn't hear you. Can you please repeat what you said?
From where you want to repeat?
I mean, we can repeat the whole of the response for that question where I asked what are the quality gaps that are identified.
Okay. Some of the most common quality gaps I observe are inconsistency in the process implementation, gaps in the documentation, and limited focus on the patient safety culture.
Okay.
While many hospitals have policies in place, okay, they've locked it up in the locker or something. The challenges lies translating those protocols into our daily practice across all the department, not only the clinical department, even in the engineering department, housekeeping department. That is important.
Everywhere.
And I'm repeating it actually. Another key gap is under reporting of the incidents,
Okay.
mostly because of the fear or lack of awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Additionally, continuous training and staff engagement are sometimes not given enough priority. For example, if staff supposed to attend the 1 hour training means the board in charge, why are you going for the training? You better stay back and you do lot more work
Yeah.
during the training time.
Yeah.
That mindset is still there in few hospitals. Okay, that's why addressing these significant it significantly strengthen overall hospital quality and safety.
Understood.
So what we do know, we'll orient the staffs for training at the starting. We have a time frame in the particular newly joined staff within the 30 days of their joining.
Understood.
They have to complete a general induction and department induction and any particular based on their job specification, they will undergo the training programs in the infection control days or safety programs, quality improvement programs, IT, basic HR policies. Everything will be covered in the induction.
Understood.
So those are the things that can strengthen the hospital safety and across India.
Okay. So, from your experience, do you have time? Am I taking too much of your time? That's fine.
No, it's fine.
Okay. I have a lot more questions. I know I have been adding more and more, but still, yeah. So, you have been.
It's actually, it's on the flow. I understand.
So, from your experience, right, you have been incorporating the NABH accreditation and the processes, systems in place to ensure that there is quality protocol being followed there, right? What does it take to actually inculcate the true culture of quality into the mindsets of the people or into the systems in itself in a hospital, given hospital? What did it take? Yeah.
Building a true culture of quality and safety requires more than a policies here. It requires consistent behavior across all the levels of the organization,
Okay.
from the top to bottom. Okay. From my experience, it starts with the leadership commitment, where quality is not treated as a one-time goal, but it's a continuous priority. Equally important is the staff engagement. People need to understand why process exists, not just to follow them. Okay, and creating a safe environment where staff can report issues without any fear is also critical. Actually, ultimately, quality culture is built when safety becomes a shared responsibility. I love the word shared responsibility. Not just the role of the quality team. That is the thing. It should be a shared responsibility across the hospital.
Yeah.
Because we can't bear quality.
Yeah. So you said you also provide training and awareness among the staff, right? How important is this training and the awareness programs that you conduct?
Yeah, okay. Training and awareness are absolutely fundamental to implement the quality systems. Okay, even the design process will fail if the staff do not understand their purpose or how to apply them in the situations. Okay, training helps bridge that gap by translating the policy to practice. In my experience, continuous and practical training, not just a boardroom training or a room training, not just one-time set, is what ensures consistency and sustainability in the quality.
Got it.
From the process, the training is very, very important.
Understood. During the training or even incorporating, it could be the stakeholders, it could be the leadership, it could be any of this. The lead doctors themselves, the nurses, the cleaning staff, anybody, right? The resistance is there to adopt to changes. How do you handle that?
Of course, resistance. There is no doubt on that. Resistance to change is natural. Okay, especially in the pressure environments like hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a quality personnel, it's important to first understand the concerns behind the resistance rather than enforce changes directly.
Mm-hmm.
So, involving the staff in the process, explaining the purpose, and demonstrating how changes improve the patient safety can make a significant difference. Yes, also small wins and visible improvements help the trust and encourage adoption. Over the time, this shift mindsets from complaints to the Thank you.
Okay. So you said the
That's how
mind. Huh?
sorry.
Yeah, you said the mindset change is the key here, right? And you said you try to understand what their fears are, or why are they resisting certain things, and then you try to address them, and then you can make the changes as required, or ensure that they follow a certain protocol and remove their fears. In overall, that's
And also, we have to celebrate the small wins
okay.
over the cup of coffee or over the
Samosa.
cutting the cake.
Okay.
Like that, we have to encourage the people for the more
Right.
support and
Yeah. In the recent years, right, the healthcare system is becoming more and more complex. Like there are deeper understandings, there are deeper research being conducted, there are more modern equipment being brought into place. How does quality management evolve in this kind of a scenario? In the last let's say you have seen the last 5-10 years, right, about how it has evolved. The next 5-10 years, how will the quality management system itself evolve, or what changes you think can will be seen across the healthcare system?
I see quality management becoming more data driven,
Okay.
integrated, and proactive. Okay. Instead of relying mainly on the retrospective models,
Okay.
hospitals will increasingly use the real time data to monitor the performance and identify the risk early. Okay. Quality will also become more closely integrated with the clinical decision making rather than functioning as a separate department. So, overall, the focus will shift from complaints based models to continuous improvement and patient centered outcomes.
Okay. And do you think in all this process, technology and digital systems are going to play a significant role?
Of course, yes, technology will play a significant role in the transforming how hospitals manage quality and compliance. Okay, digital systems can improve accuracy, streamline the documentation, and enable the real-time monitoring of the key indicators. For example, electronic medical records,
True.
dashboards, automated alerts, and identify deviation and reduce the errors. However, it's also to remember that technology is an enabler. Effectiveness still depends on how well processes are designed,
Yeah.
how staff need to use those systems.
Understood. Yeah, it's more like, as you said, technology is always an enabler, and we as human beings need to know how to utilize those enablers to improvise our services that we provide. Truly agree with that.
Exactly.
So, in the health hospital's approach towards the quality and systemized processes that are in place, what kind of changes do you think is important to be incorporated? Along with whatever is done, whatever is being done, whatever you have done, what additional things do you think could help better the systems?
Again, one key improvement I would like to see is a shift in the mindset. Okay, from viewing accreditation as a one-time achievement, it has to be treated as a continuous quality journey. Okay, there should be a great emphasis on actual implementation rather than the documentation, and strengthening safety culture, encouraging the transparent reporting, and investing in the continuous staff training, also the critical areas. Additionally, integrating technology with the quality systems can improve the consistency and monitoring across the hospitals. Okay. So, overall focus should move towards the sustainable, system driven improvements rather than the short term complaints.
Amazing. So the long term goals have to be put in place, and understanding that the systems that are being brought in is not just a short term gap that you're filling, but it is kind of a long term, and building the process, building the systems, ensuring the patient quality and safety is important, is what you think. The change in the mindset is key. Understood.
Yes, of course, that's it.
So, young professionals, right, they don't know about this kind of a route at all. You were lucky to meet Dr. Padmanabhan and you got the route. Is there anything that you would like to say to the young professionals out there to understand what the career is, what are the opportunities available, and how they can come to this field?
Okay. I would say that healthcare quality management is a highly impactful and meaningful career path. Okay, even though it not be very visible. If you're working perfectly, nobody will give a pat, or nobody will give a standing ovation to you.
Yeah.
But if something happens, they will come behind you. That's for sure.
Okay.
So, so for anyone interested, my advice would be to stay curious and open to learn. Okay, because this field goes beyond theory. It requires understanding how systems work in a real life situations. Also, don't hesitate to start small. Okay, even as a fresher, you can contribute significantly by observing the process and identify gaps. Okay, most importantly, remember that your work directly influences the patient safety, even if you are not in the clinical room, and that makes feel very rewarding.
True. True.
That's I want to share.
Agree. That was very interesting. Now, as a human itself, right? These young professionals who are interested into entering the same line of career, what kind of qualities should they inculcate, or should they improvise that are most important to be a success, or at least be part of the system?
Okay. Some of the most important qualities to attain to detail, like giving attention to the detail. Sorry?
Yeah, attention to detail. Yeah, that was what I said.
Okay. Audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yes. So analytical thinking and strong communication skills are very important. Okay. A quality professional must be able to look at the process critically and identify the gaps, while also working closely with the different teams to implement the improvement. Not only nursing team, not only clinical department, not only biomedical department. They also have to work with the housekeeping department. Okay, they also have to work with the OT,
Okay.
surgeons, consultants. So they have to work closely with the different teams. And adaptability and patience are very, very essential. Okay, because change takes time in the healthcare settings. We can't get a overnight results.
Correct.
Above all, having system thinking approach and strong commitment to the patient safety are what truly define a successful professional.
Super. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, after years of working in this hospital quality systems, right, training them, putting the systems in place, supporting the documentation process, and approaching the NABH authorities and all that, what does actually quality in healthcare mean to you today?
Over the years, my understanding of quality has evolved significantly. Okay. Today, I see quality in healthcare as the ability to deliver safe, consistent, and patient-centered care through the well-designed systems. Okay. It is not just about meeting standards or achieving the accreditation or achieving the certification. It is about creating the process that prevent errors, support healthcare teams, and ultimately protect our patients. To me, quality means building a system where doing the right thing becomes the easiest and most natural thing for everyone involved.
Wow.
So I would like to quote something.
Yeah.
Quality is not an act. Quality is not an act. It's a system that ensures every patient receives a safe and reliable care. You have to treat the patient as your own. What if your father was there? What if it's your parents? What is your hubby? Or it is okay. You have to treat everyone as
Understood.
say.
Awesome. Quality is not an act, it's a system that makes a difference to the patient's safety and security. Awesome. So, Nitya, one question I have: how does your day go like?
You can't even imagine how my days go. Okay, we quality team will we schedule a whole month. Okay, what date will be the internal audit? What day will be the committee meetings will happen? We prepare everything.
Okay.
It's we have a calendar, big calendar. We write down all the which day we are going for which department audits, everything. But if an incident comes in,
Okay.
day will go on. We have to interview the persons who involved. We have to go through the policies and everything.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden, I will receive a call. There is a patient for, or all of then go there,
Yeah.
and some management they will ask you questions. It will be like a chaos. The job. Always there is an adrenaline.
There's always an adrenaline rush. Okay.
Not even a single day bored day. Not even a single day will be a normal day. We love that. That's why I love this job very much actually.
Wow.
Okay. If an incident comes in, everything what we've done, it's fatal. All we have to do everything, no, it's in the process. It's a quite interesting issue. Being a healthcare quality professional, patient safety professional, it's totally different. I love to go. Okay, that's one of my core. We'll visit each department. We'll identify where safety. The day will go on. One person will tell one story. The person will tell another story. We have to interpret between these two.
Okay.
So we will get any help now from that. It's quite interesting actually. We love any day.
Uh-huh. So it's always stories going on with different departments,
Yes.
different issues
Yes.
being addressed on a daily basis. That's interesting.
Yes.
So the planning
Every day.
Okay. The planning that you
Sorry?
the
Come again?
planning you said there is a calendar and you plan the day, right? Does it happen that those that has been planned are achieved on the same day or it gets postponed?
After completing the particular day schedule, only we'll leave the office.
Okay. Okay.
Because committee meetings will be scheduled on the particular time where the various stakeholders, various members will come. So we have to prepare the agenda, presentation, everything to be on time. We try to finish because this is called shared responsibility, right?
Yeah.
Among our quality team, will share among ourselves. If I am busy, somebody will step in particular work and everything.
Okay. So that way,
Very nice.
department
Yes,
handles every responsibility possible.
Yes, actually, teamwork is most important. If something is going on really well, means your team is very strong.
True. Very good.
If any wheel or any member is not aligning with our common goal, means the whole system will collapse.
True. Very true.
Because quality work is not a single person's work actually. Everybody have to involve
Contribute there.
in the different. We have to monitor. Yes. Addressing the doctor's concern, doing the root cause for any incident, or gathering the data for the quality.
So,
It's a vast.
yeah.
So somebody will step in. If we need a shoulder to help, no, definitely. I'm very proud that I'm having a good team under Dr. Madhavi Gopinath's leadership.
Oh, wow.
She is very strict and she will be always on the book. What is the protocol says? What's the process says? That's how she speaks. Okay, is this are you doing the right? So we can't give on the process. Since we are the quality team, we should not deviate from the protocol. We should not give leniency to some person. We should not give. It's not like that because we are the example. We are the setting the examples. We have to be always rigid and also encourageable mode.
True.
We have to. I don't know. there is an saying, we have to insert the pin in the banana, how it will be nice and smooth.
Yeah,
No?
yeah.
That's how we. Yes, I understand your concern, but this is the process you have to follow. This thing you didn't. So that's why we are in the disciplinary action. So that's why we used to do one thing for any person did a mistake or no.
Mhm.
So we'll ask a particular person to take training session for other members of their department.
Okay. So they will
That
understand
is one of
better.
the clever technique. Yes, yes, yes. That's all. It's not like cornering them under. It will be like an what to say, more encouraging, more involvement will be there. We should not tell this person made a mistake, not like that. But we'll ask, okay, why don't you take a class among your peers? Just take and share attendance with us. Like that.
Awesome. Nice. So, how do you balance your work and your personal life?
You feel different actually.
Okay.
If you're like, oh no, the my perception seeing things totally changed after I come into the quality. Okay, if something happens in my personal life means I will do the root cause analysis. Why it happened? Why it happened? It's called 5 why method. We have to ask why it happened, why it happened. So at least on the 5th why we'll get a right answer.
True.
And second thing is we'll plan everything and always have a plan. If something is not, I'll always have a plan. Whether even I'm planning for a vacation, I will do this. You won't believe. So always I'm the person plan the everybody will Nitya, you will take care of this, Papa. We have planned to go this you have to take care, plan everything.
Okay.
Even for this conference, I'll plan everything. So my approach totally changed. I was carefree and jolly wala. Once I became a person, no, why it happened? Why it happened? You should not be like this. No,
Yeah.
something is happening. So, like that, my perceptions was totally changed. Thanks to the quality, actually.
Awesome.
I'm an engineer, right? I'm an engineer. I have no direct contact with the healthcare qualification. Okay, so I completed my integrated Black Six Sigma Black Belt in Indian Statistical Institute, and along with the quality. So after that, I learning the Six Sigma Black Belt. Everything like DMIAC. DMIAC is a concept like a defined measure, implement, check. Like that, it's a process. Everything is process like.
Okay.
Then, since you asked how will you balancing work life and personal life, right? So I recently completed my MBA in healthcare and hospital sector in the Witsvilland University. Okay, as a work integrator. Just imagine I have this, okay, and I'm also working.
Yeah, full time at GKNM.
Yes, full time at GKNM. So quality only helps you through across. Today only I received my professional certificate actually.
Congratulations.
From the
So now you are an MBA graduate in healthcare administrations also.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's quite an.
I'm so proud of that. What? Yes.
Yeah.
Everything need a consistency.
True.
Doing a one time is not enough. We have to do it every day, every time. Right thing. That is a quality actually. Quality means doing a right thing every time. Even when or when anyone watching you. That is the concept of the quality.
Awesome. With that, I really thank you, Nitya, for all the time that you took and all the information, all the knowledge that you have shared with us today on the in Blumber, right? For us and for our listeners. I really appreciate and commend for the kind of work you have done, and I would really want to understand a little more about this maybe in another session of ours. And thank you so much for taking this, coming on board and helping us understand what quality assurance is in healthcare system. I really appreciate you being here with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity, Pushpa. It was a pleasure sharing my journey And I truly believe that strong quality system are the foundation of the safe and reliable care. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Awesome.
Once again.
Thanks so much. We'll catch up again. Thank you.